2.1, call to order. I will call the Perry Union High School District School Board meeting to order at 4 p.m. I'm going to ask for a roll call to determine the quorum. Trustee Anaya?
Here.
Thank you. Trustee Stafford?
Here.
Thank you. Trustee Hall?
Here.
Thank you. And Trustee Garcia?
Here.
Thank you. And Trustee Campos here. We have established the quorum. 3.1, Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand and rise. Put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, 4.1, revision, adoption, ordering of agenda for November 20th, 2025. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Trustee Garcia. Do I have a second? Thank you, Trustee Stafford. Please vote. On a vote being taken, the vote was 5 in favor, 0 opposed. Moving on to 5.1, invitation to address the Board of Trustees on agendized items. Are there any public comments?
There are no public comments.
Okay, thank you. 6.1, oral reports, Evolve Weapons Detection System overview and demonstration.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So my name is Alex. I'm with Evolve Technology, the manufacturer, and we have Trisha from TRL Systems, who's our channel partner here in Southern California. I believe they do a lot of work for the district. I have a slide deck to show you some images and some videos of our technology and give you some information about the company so you have a better idea of what it does, how it works, the process you might experience using it, the experience you might have during your evaluation, and can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, but we just want to make sure you picked up.
Got it. And just your experiences throughout any potential onboarding or when you're on during your term. See these screens okay? So I'm just going to start with a video, just to give you a little bit of background about the company and how it got started. And please interrupt with any questions or comments
Inspiration is often a term used to describe the light bulb moment when an idea sparks in an entrepreneur's mind. But for Vault Technology, our inspiration was born following some of America's darkest moments in recent history. It came in the wake of the Sandy Hook tragedy in December 2012, the 52 mass shootings in the 122 days that followed, and culminated with the Boston Marathon bombing on April 15, 2013. These horrific events, some right here in our own backyard of Boston, crystallized the bigger need for technology that could address this growing and evolving epidemic.
In 2011 and 2012, we were actively searching for new technology that could transform an industry. We started Evolve with a vision to develop products to prevent these catastrophic headlines. It was time to out-innovate the bad guys, to apply technology to help keep people safe in public spaces. Our founding principle was balance. Any successful solution had to balance the detection of weapons being used to carry out these incidents while allowing people to continue to live at the pace of life without creating new checkpoints everywhere they went.
Instead of forcing people to adapt to the needs of security, security needed to adapt to the needs of people. Instead of rigid immobility, we needed mobile flexibility. Instead of alarming on keys or phones, we needed to only catch the gun. Instead of figuring out how to react when a shooter entered the building, we needed to prevent the gun from ever entering the venue. It took us 6 years to develop and deploy a technology that could meet this need. In 2017, our first product, the Evolve Edge, launched. While it dramatically reduced the need for invasive security screening, it wasn't good enough. It had to be faster for people to go through, easier for security operators to use, and better at detecting a growing list of threats. It was a step in the right direction, but we still weren't satisfied, so we kept innovating, experimenting, learning, and adapting. In September of 2019, we proudly launched Evolve Express. It uses the power of AI to instantly differentiate personal items from threats, making it easy for guards and frictionless for visitors. Since Express has been available, Evolve has screened hundreds of millions of people, helping to keep them safe in schools, workplaces, healthcare facilities, entertainment venues, houses of worship, and many other public places. Hundreds of customers have partnered with Evolve to create safer zones.
Sadly, the U.S. continues to see more mass shootings, and gun violence continues to rage. In the first 100 days this year, there have been 146 mass shootings, taking 202 lives, and over 5,200 additional lives were lost to gun violence. That's over 50 people a day. These staggering losses show our work is just getting started. 2023 marks our 10-year anniversary as a company, and our passion and our commitment have never been stronger. We at Evolve continue to drive forward, developing new products, building and deploying our technology, and spreading the word to help create safer zones for more people. We work tirelessly to keep students and educators, doctors and nurses, workers, sports fans, concert and museum goers, our neighbors, our friends, and loved ones safe and able to enjoy daily life without fear. We proudly count Boston as our hometown, and are especially honored to know we help protect venues right here in our own community. We are Boston Strong.
All right, so that's just a little bit about the company. Obviously, they talk about Boston maybe a little too much, but East Coast company, the equipment's manufactured there, and when the product that we're going to go over today, which you can just see a visual of what it looks like right here, that was introduced to the market in 2019, and when we first hit the market, it was more for all the types of venues that were already using screening devices, sports stadiums, theme parks, concert venues, entertainment venues, things like that. And then really, probably around 2022, that's when started getting into the other segments of the industry. Like you might have heard in the video, workplace environments, healthcare, schools, not places where you typically have, many places typically don't have, screening devices. So kind of the purpose of Evolve and other great companies like we have Chea here as well, trying to make the screening process much more efficient for people going through the screeners and the staff members who have to do the searching and all that kind of stuff. So a free-flowing screening process. And the way we are doing that is by ignoring more of the common everyday items out there and alerting the best we can on weapons. So most people will not set the system off, and the ones that do, the search process is going to be much easier. And I'll show you some demonstration videos of that. Not as markety as that one, more straight to the point. So here's just a snapshot of some of our customers. I don't know if some of you have already seen Evolve out in the wild. There's quite a few places in SoCal. A lot of the sports stadiums, other smaller entertainment venues, convention centers as well, but like we were kind of alluding to, dozens of healthcare sites, and our first school, which I believe some of your team has already gone and seen it, was Hemi Unified, and they have some of their own videos on their YouTube channel that showcase how they approach this. But since then, just in SoCal, maybe about a dozen school districts, some charter schools as well, and then Northern California, about another dozen. So, got some local connections if you ever want to learn about their experiences. And we'll get into how this data is actually tracked. The system can collect some data. It's an added-on feature, but we'll focus on the detection capabilities for now. So. Let me just pause right here for a second. You see the screener right here, and the students are going to be walking through, and you're going to notice this woman right here. She's going to have a tablet, and on this tablet, there's going to be an image of the individual, and on that image, you'll see a bounty box that will tell that person where an item, a potential threat might be on that person. And then when they go off to the side for a secondary search, then no one has to guess from head to toe where to conduct that search. They could target, hey, let me just have this person empty their pocket, take a look in their bag or their ankle or wherever the box is telling them to go to. So, like I say, most people don't alarm on the system. The few that do, the experience is better for the student or the visitor or the family, and the staff member doesn't have to guess from head to toe where to do their search. The targeting searching makes it a lot easier for them. There's no really room for human error and bias, less room for any sort of profiling. Actually, let me just show you a quicker. So this is what I'm talking about. You'll see this person walk through clean, and you'll see him walk through with an actual object as well.
The Evolve tablet seeks to provide a fast, non-invasive threat resolution. With the Evolve Express, it shows who may need a secondary search and highlights where to look using a red box on the person's image. If there are multiple items detected, you'll see more than one box. This process is designed to focus the search and avoid searching someone head to toe. The goal is to resolve alerts quickly and help reduce bias in the process.
Pause there for a second. Any questions?
A couple of questions, actually. Visibility. The way that's set up, for example, in a crowded situation, it seems like a student could slip right around the side of that. I'm sure that could be cordoned off to keep it
absolutely
that way. Mobility. We can move these pretty much anywhere we want them. Stadium, gym,
Yes.
anywhere,
Yes.
without any major data lines or anything like that.
No, I'll show you a video of it, a demonstration video of it and moving as well, if you would like. And I was just going to pull up this picture to kind of show how people do their best to control the environment. They will have stanchions just on the borders of those towers to control that flow of traffic and funnel those people through that one area. So reducing entrances and also thinning that entrance is something.
So I don't get too far ahead of you because you're probably going to ask
away.
Too. Purses and backpacks.
Yes.
Keys. Does this mean people don't have to empty their pockets anymore to get in? Does it scan effectively for that?
Yeah, so we're going to be ignoring most common everyday items.
Okay.
We're not perfect. We're not going to hit on every weapon. We're not going to ignore every common everyday item. But for the majority, like these things, this is, I can leave it in my pocket, walk through a system, and it's not going to set the system off.
So the main thing, backpacks, that's our biggest item coming through every morning.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's able to scan that and activate on if there's something in those backpacks.
Almost, it's not as smooth, and I'll explain why. So we're going to be ignoring most items out there, but when it comes to me just walking through right now, I have these like AirPods, phone, keys, wallet, belt buckle. That stuff is kind of all spread out and separated around my body, and it's easier to ignore. And I can go more in depth into how the system works through, further through the evaluation process, we can have a demo system here and, show you how run through and test the system. But when it comes to like sports stadiums or after school events or something, the alarm rate is a lot lower than what you're getting at is when, daily screening, when a student comes in with a backpack, there's a lot more items in there, a lot more clutter. You can expect the alarm rate to be a lot higher. Maybe some of them won't alarm, but maybe some of them do. So one of the common false positives that we see are some laptops out there. Most schools do have, a Chromebook that does set the system off. Some don't, and that's great and makes the process a lot easier, the screening process. For the ones that do, there are workarounds. I can go back to that school video. You might catch some glimpses of how they do it in the B-roll. Some schools will have students hold it out, let that box capture the laptop, or preferred way is have those laptops go around the system, place those items on a table, and then pick up the laptop on the other side. We do have another product out there. That's not what we're looking at today. It's a bag scanner, and that helps schools scan the bag and the student separately and reduces the false alarm rate, but we can tackle that item another time. But yeah.
Okay. I won't interrupt you anymore.
No, feel free to.
Well, you're probably going to say it. I'll wait, so you're
I'm
probably
ready
going
for
to say
you.
it. Okay. Well, in the interest of time, it's
Okay.
better if I don't ask too much right now.
No, you're good. I was just going to touch up on kind of what he was going to say. Mr. Shepard was talking about, the 3-ring binder, the laptops,
Yes.
metal water bottles.
Yes.
When you got a bunch of kids coming in, now that's going to slow the process. Because now you got to look inside those bags, right?
Correct. Yeah. So
Right.
if you
So
left
you
the
got-
laptops in the
I mean,
binders,
every kid almost has a backpack that they're coming through. So that means every kid we want to check and make sure, right?
Yeah. During your evaluation process, if you do a pilot or a demo, for sure you would like to test the laptops that your students use. If they do alarm, then we would have to find that workaround because you would not want to keep that binder, keep that laptop in the bags because everyone will alarm and that will defeat the purpose for sure. So having them taking it out is
So it's kind of like they got to have their stuff out before they walk through. Is what you're saying?
yeah, and it's really just usually the laptops and the binders. There are some other common false positives like an umbrella can hit set on the system, some eyeglass cases, like you mentioned, some water bottles, but they're less common, and usually those can all just stay in the bag. It's usually laptops and binders.
So this is really just for metal purposes, right? Like I don't vape, but do they have plastic vapes? I don't know. Will
Yeah.
it pick up a vape? Kind of
Typically
stuff.
not, unless it is a densely metal one, but typically not.
Okay.
Yeah, one day hopefully.
We wanted to.
Just to hit on your other question, just to show you how mobile they can be. It's not as mobile as others, but just a quick setup process. Yeah, so some places they leave these things stationary. They bolt them down even sometimes. But yeah, schools and some other or entertainment venues, they'll move these in and out every day. We provide training for that, obviously. Part of the kind of process of all of this, we're here today giving you a brief overview, a high-level view of the system and kind of what you can experience on a day-to-day. What we typically do is encourage you to, get one of our demo systems out, kind of in a closed environment, so you can really test it, because we have, multiple sensitivities, and that depends on how many weapons you might hit, how many common items you will ignore. Balancing that risk mitigation versus overwhelming your staff with too many false alarms. So, in addition to that, doing some sort of pilot, possibly at one of your schools, or maybe an event, just so you get an idea of how it could work in your environment. And then one of the steps we've kind of already done, John's taken me around, and we've done some site surveys at the entrances of some schools. So we created some graphics to show, hey, these are where the pieces of equipment can be positioned and where the personnel can be as well. So you have a baseline of what the operation could look like, and you can tweak it as you go on. And when it comes to actually, deploying these to schools, as you are waiting for, systems to arrive, we do have online resources that go over everything, for your staff members, how to use a tablet, how to set up the system, do the whole operation, and then there's more administrative levels as well, because there is a portal to this where you can, I'll just quickly fly through those slides, but this portal is a website that every account has. And there's 3 things to it. You can change settings remotely, like you hear about an incident, you can increase the sensitivities, but there are some other settings as well. There's a lot of data that is automatically collected through the system, like the amount of people coming through, the alarm rates, and then when your staff are doing their searches, actually, at the end of each search, they'll tag what they found, and so you can generate reports on, hey, we found this many bladed weapons or this many guns in October or whatnot. So, and the last thing that we just introduced to this website is the tablet images can now be sent there, and so someone in your security office will have access to real-time images on their phone or their desktop. Before, in order to do this, customers had to integrate into their VMS or other platforms, and like Genetech is a big one of ours that we partner with. So you can still do that, but you have this option as well, where we don't touch your network at all. And then we have all these courses online as you are getting ready to do an installation or deployment at these schools. Once it comes time to do that, we provide in-person training, and then we will provide some go-live support as well, because many school districts have not done this before. But the learning curve, there is a learning curve to it, and these transitions are not easy. So we will be there for go-live support the first few days to, give feedback, answer any questions, and tweak things as you're getting started. Any questions on that or anything else?
So you can break down a gun and put it in different spots, your bag or on you. So will it pick up stuff like that? When you break down a gun, or if it's wrapped heavily in something else, is it gonna pick that up?
Yeah, so we are looking for the components of the firearm, so like that barrel, that slide.
Right.
It's not really just the whole thing, because a lot of components are not metallic, like the polymer pistol grip, or some magazines are plastic as well. So we will be targeting those components, and if you disassemble it, if you're on the right sensitivity, it would alarm on that. Yeah.
So we're also heavily, we got to rely on our own staff to go through all that stuff, right? Scanning it, doing a second search. Then you got to back up a bunch of kids, trying to get into class. So that creates, a bottleneck.
Yes.
And now these students are going to be late if there's so many students that are got to be checked for stuff that, a 3-ring binder or, so. Where do you think you could improve on in this whole process on this company?
Yeah, our detection is very good, but we can always get better. And right now, the situation you're describing is definitely something you would see with a regular like metal detector, as most people will alarm. But in this case, and you can hear me talk about it, I'll show you just kind of some B-roll. Since the majority of students are not going to shut the system off, we don't typically see a backup. And the few that do, like I was mentioning, that targeted search just makes the search a lot quicker and more efficient.
A couple of questions. The width, is that it's a standard width, it always stays, it can't go any wider than what it is?
There's two widths to it, 32 and 42 inches in that interior lane. And that is really just the optimal range for our magnetic field to be at to detect reliably. Yeah, if we could spread out or across the hallway, that would be phenomenal.
Okay. The other question, you may not be able to, well, you might have data on it. The durability, how long is this? What's the life of?
Yeah, the life expectancy is about 7 years.
7 years.
And these can be deployed outside. These can be in torrential rain, or we have these out used in Palm Springs in the heat and the wind and desert. Yeah.
If we get, if they get defaced, or the students can be pretty rough on facilities. So, they have parts and warranty and all that stuff.
Yes, we do include a lot of that. I mean, if it's something negligible and it was some sort of vandalism that could have been prevented, then that might not fall under that. But we do have like a break fix warranty over the whole term.
How is this getting billed out? How do you guys close?
Bill?
Yeah. What's the price on it? What are we looking at?
So a single lane. So I am with the manufacturer. We don't directly sell them. We sell through our channel partners, but we do a 4-year term typically, and we've seen places pay for a single unit of these anywhere from maybe 80 to 100K over this 4 years.
I'm sorry, say again?
Like 80 to 100K over the 4 years.
Okay, so is that 4-year term, are we locked in for that 4-year term, or is it, something that's just not working for us? Is there a service clause where we can get out?
We don't entertain any terms of convenience.
So we're stuck with it?
Yes.
4-year term, that's, okay.
Does that include the software upgrades and everything connected to AI and technology?
It includes everything. You wouldn't see any add-ons, so it would include everything you need to operate it. Any of the software updates that we send to the system every few months, that's to improve our detection and add new features to the tablet to make searching easier, add new features to the portal to make reports look a little bit better, and then like the warranty and the break fix service and all that kind of stuff. So that is all wrapped up into one. Yeah.
The warranty for the 4 years?
Yes.
So my colleague asked a question about pretty much the warranties. So I would have a question in regards to if there is damage, because there are individuals, whether students or public, community, whatever you want to label them as, who aren't very thrilled. They go on some crazy chaotic move. I don't know how to describe it, but they go bonkers, right? And they decide to go after the unit. Then what? Are we out of luck? We can't get a replacement? Do we have to pay another 100K, or what are we looking at here?
It's a rare circumstance. I have not seen it before in a school environment, fortunately. But if that ever did happen, most likely it wouldn't fall into the warranty, as that should be a preventable circumstance. Storing these, putting covers over it, that kind of stuff. I haven't heard of. I don't want to.
No, I understand. I just know what type
I
of.
want to bring the challenge on anyone, but
Right.
I have not seen a student, really deliberately try to just vandalize the system. We've heard of, or I've seen situations maybe these have been at an entertainment venue where someone was a little intoxicated and they took a bat to it, or at a sports stadium, someone was maybe in the same mindset and they tackled the system. But and we figure a way to help the customer out with not being a financial burden.
Okay, the question that I have, I don't really know how to ask them, so I'm going to ask them how it was presented to me years back, that you guys could detect what's in our pockets based on the density and the shape.
Like shape, size, composition of the metal. That's what it's doing. So it's.
But the way you pitched it didn't sound like it, so that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, it's not a visual detection at all. That large tower right there is emitting a magnetic field, and pieces of metal that go through it cause a disturbance, and we're measuring that disturbance with the shape, size, densities, compositions, the things you just mentioned. So,
okay,
and depending on the sensitivity is how sensitive it's going to be to certain items.
Right. So in an educational environment, we're not looking just for weapons, right? We have to be proactive and look for everything contraband, vapes, whether it's nicotine or wax pens or whatever, vice versa. Nowadays, they hide vapes and standard looking pens, right? Highlighters, stuff like that. So would that be able to detect it?
We would not.
Do you guys have like handheld wands that would support a secondary search?
We recommend using handheld wands as secondary.
But you guys don't have that product?
We don't provide them, no.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so I had a couple of questions. In looking at the unit, and I saw them breaking it down, is there a battery in there, or do you need an outlet where it plugs
For
in?
the system to operate, a 110 outlet is required.
Okay.
It's not battery powered at all. The tablets are, or they can be wired, but they have batteries in them. And if you didn't have power, we have seen certain facilities use like the electric portable generators like Jackery or Blue Eddy, but most places will just 110 outlet and they'll run on that.
Okay, and then the other one was, so it's kind of similar to their question. So if, like here, technology just fails and breaks down, and we have a tech team that does what they got to do. But if that fails, what's the turnaround time for? I mean, is there a backup? Is there a backup there? Do we have one in case one doesn't work? How does that kind of work out?
Great question. So a lot of this is remotely connected to an AWS cloud, and that's how you get the software updates. The tablets are connected, the portal, all that kind of stuff. And so if you ever have an issue, the lights will flash red. There will be some error messages on the tablets as well. And the first troubleshooting steps are provided there for you. Because sometimes it's very simple. Maybe towers aren't aligned or something like that. But if none of that works, we do have a 24/7 tech support team. They work weekends. We have a lot of weekend customers, work late nights. So they're always on standby, and they can remotely diagnose the system and figure out where the problem is, which part. A lot of times they can just fix it remotely, some sort of software or something. Or they can walk the operator through how to fix it. If not, then we do have, depending on the severity level of the system and when you need it up and running next, we can overnight parts, get a technician out there, and we work with our partners as well. They're certified techs, and we can get the system back up and running.
Thank you.
Okay, so I have a couple of questions because I saw 2 lanes earlier. So you have that large tower and you have that thin tower. How much would the 2-lane system be, and how fast can you send us the product if we ordered, let's just say, 5 schools worth?
Yeah, so the numbers I gave you is for the single lane, and you could just add probably another 25% for the dual lane. And the lead time is about 4 to 5 weeks.
Thank you.
Does this have to be covered up, or can it work in the rain
It can work in the rain.
with no problems? No.
Yeah, I mean, some of the cords in
We're talking
there,
electro.
they're covered by things, but if someone's, doesn't have the cord plugged in and they have it just sitting there letting rain get in, that's the only issue. But it's IP67. And these are used out in the rain. They're meant to be. Yeah.
And I just want to capture this one more time. You said for the cost of $80,000 to $1,000 or $100,000, it comes with everything: the tablets, the towers, the mat, and what else?
everything you need that you've seen how to operate the system, and then all the stuff behind it that makes it work, the software, the personnel to support all that kind of stuff.
Thank you.
Typically, you do schools, what is it? I know they're all different, so just a ballpark figure, what is one site need, 2 or 3?
Great question. So that's something we'll do on our site surveys, which we have done some. Yeah, the more you can reduce entrances, the better for you financially, and just easier for everyone to funnel through and to manage that. So typically, people try to get to 1, but I don't really see any schools going over 2 or 3 entrances. They figure out a way how to reduce that. Because it's not only the systems, the personnel for each site as well. So yeah.
Need support. Any covers come with it?
To put over the system? Yes, we provide that as well.
Just thinking when it's in storage or something.
Exactly. Yeah.
Personnel-wise, how many does it require?
Yeah. So for like a base. Like when I was at the beginning, when I was talking about like an entertainment venue where you might have less alarms because they're not carrying book bags and things like that. That might just be 2 people. Here, let me just flash to this image again, just so you can see. You see on the left here, this gentleman where my mouse is, and this gentleman where my mouse is. They're just focused on this right lane right here. There's people for the other side, so. These 2 people are focused on this lane. This gentleman on the left, we call them flow control. They're controlling the traffic coming in and really just identifying the person that shows up on the tablet when an alarm happens. So those green lights flash red, an image pops up, and they just identify the person, send them off to the side to do the secondary search so it's not impeding the general flow of traffic and not causing a backstop. And then the people on the secondary search, the threat resolution is what we call it, they will use that box to, do their search efficiently. With school environments in the mornings with the book bags, if they do have a higher alarm rate, you may see, a third person for that lane. So typically 2 to 3 people per lane.
Thank you. We good?
Have no more.
Okay, I think we're good.
Cool.
Thank you.
for the time and questions.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, moving on to 6.2. CEIA USA's Open Gate Technology Weapons Detection System and overview and demonstration.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Hello.
Good afternoon, thank you.
Let's give us which boardroom, right?
Yeah.
Good. 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Tom McDermott from CHEA. It is pronounced CHEA. It's an Italian company. It's where we got our start. I'm going to spend as little time as possible going over the company background, but it's critically important because it's very different companies. But I'll jump to a demonstration as quickly as possible. So many of the questions you asked, I'll be able to demonstrate. So I can detect a rate if need be. But let's go through a couple things. So CHEA, we're founded in Italy. We've got 8 different companies. About 150 distributors globally. We're a big global company. Started in '62. Okay. The founder of the company was actually in the textile industry, and the dress manufacturers and others were getting needles in their dresses. They wanted to figure out how to get them out from the textile manufacturer. That's actually where we got our start. So we've been at this metal detection for a long time. But CHEA, as a company, started in '68. And funny enough, we actually started from there into food processing. Likely the foods you ate today were protected by us, okay, and pharmaceuticals as well.
any medications you take, we're likely protected by us. Okay? People don't realize that in food and manufacturing and pharmaceuticals, you have to have metal detection. So we've been at metal detection for a long, long time, looking for tiny, tiny bits of metal. So we've got a little background on this. 75 is when we started weapons detection, metal detection at airports. Okay, so that was 50 years ago. All right, so we're not new to this. And been many, many patents since. 79 and 82 were some of our first patents. We created the cylinder patent back when, that's what I'm going to show you here, but that was patented many, many years ago. But lots of different types. Zone alarming, we started back in 88. Okay, so zone alarming, when they talk about the bounding box, we actually patented that 37 years ago. So we've been at this a long, long time. So we know where the target object is, but there's pros and cons depending on your environment, how to use that and when to use that because of assumptions people make. Okay, but we've been at this. Secret Service, same year, Secret Service started using our equipment. So Secret Service only uses our technology. We have lots of different technologies they use, from liquid bomb, letter bomb, shoe bomb detection that they use, but they carry our equipment. They have carried our equipment since 1988. Okay. Our background really in metal detection and walk-through metal detectors is airports and dignitaries in the facilities around the world, literally securing popes and presidents since. Our first 30 years of existence in weapons detection were really dignitaries in these facilities. We secure the White House and have ever since. There's more patents that we've been doing, elliptical, lots of patents. You know, we started that in the theme park business, NFL, Major League Baseball. People don't realize that there's a reason for the elliptical, is so you can see through the crowds. We're first and foremost focused on security. It's important to be able to see through a crowd. That's why they're developed like that. Okay? Because if you had to use panels, you wouldn't be able to see through the crowd as a security professional. That's important to do. Lots of different patents. UN has been using us since 2002 for ground search for IEDs in war-torn countries. After 9/11, all North American airports and European airports only use CHEA walk-through detectors for metal detection. What else? Shoe bomb detection, IEDs, war-torn countries, loss prevention, Amazon, Apple. So you look at, for example, a vape. Okay, you can't walk out of an Apple facility, Samsung, Amazon facility, we'll find a single AirPod walking out the door. Okay, so lots of different things we could find. We do gamma radiation explosive detection. The Secret Service carries a detector like this. Okay, so lots of different things we can detect. Again, food processing, liquid bomb detection, shoe bomb detection, letter bomb detection, massive cargo containers at airports we can screen. Okay, we do around the world. So lots of different things. The Open Gate, which I'm going to show you, came out in 2011, but the Janus actually being installed in Vegas this week. That's combining many different technologies there. By the way, we screen 1 billion people a year at U.S. airports alone.
Wow.
Okay, the volume's about 2 million. They said about 2 billion now. We do 1 billion a year every year at U.S. airports alone, and have since 9/11. So a little background on that. The Janus just came out. The Janus, which you'll start to see at airports. Again, we're installing it at Vegas, and Christy Nome from Homeland Security is going to be announcing it this week. So we're installing that at Vegas. It combines a number of technologies into one. So it's getting rid of that Leidos that does this and integrating our metal detection into one, and lots of other technologies I can't talk about. But that's actually being installed at John Wayne Airport as well, and Philly Airport as well as tests for the U.S. But that's used all over the Pacific region right now. But we secure 95% of the airports around the world. We have for many years, long before 9/11. Biggest stadiums in the world, biggest leagues in the world. We've owned that. Correctional facilities, all federal prisons, only protected by CHEA. School security we've been doing for 25 years. New York City NYPD we've worked with for more than 25 years. Okay? They started testing our open gates 3 years ago. They want to switch over because they wanted to change their security posture. So they admittedly kind of look like prisons. That's an elementary school, by the way. Okay, but if you want to catch those small knives, by the way, and I can show you, we can detect those small knives as small as you want. I can make it alert on your zipper if need be. You need to go to an X-ray. Reason being, how big is your biggest high school here? How many students? 2,600. Okay. The problem people think that if they use a good metal detector, they can search bags. If you want to search every bag, the problem with searching bags, and we'll talk about, by the way. So the conversation shouldn't be about what doesn't it alert on. The conversation should be, what's the smallest threat item you want to keep out of your schools? That's where it should start. This is about security. What's the smallest threat item you want to keep out? Then we will tell you, okay, there's a trade-off to that. Okay, you are going to learn on these things. Okay, so NYPD, they want to keep out the smallest blades, and I can show you some tiny blades they want to keep out. Okay, and they do. The only way to do that right is high security, a very good metal detector, and everything goes through X-ray. Reason being, 2,600 kids, that's 2,600 bags, guys. Oh, no, it's not 2,600 bags. Kids carry 2, 3 bags, a purse, musical instruments, athletic gear. Okay, you're at 6,000, 7,000 bags. What's the entry time for your school? Half hour, 45 minutes? Okay. Good luck searching that many bags. Okay, what we've learned over the years, it's unrealistic. That's why people like NYPD, the TSA, use X-rays, because human error. Okay, so always think about what's the smallest threat item you want to detect. Okay, that's where the conversation should start. And then with that, what's the trade-off? Okay. The reason stadiums and others have gone to weapons detection, first of all, we don't call them false alarms in security background. It's a nuisance alarm. Okay? So what this is all about is reducing the nuisance alarms, because I want to focus on real threats, not nuisance alarms. We got around keys, belt buckles, coins 13 years ago, roughly. Okay? Back in 2012, we were able to discriminate those items. Our security professionals asked us for more. It's not about the consumer experience. What it's about is if you've got 80,000 people waiting to get in your stadium, okay, and they're backed up, well, that's a shooting gallery. Why, if you're going to shoot people out, why wait to get inside?
Yeah.
You just do a drive-by. So that's what this is about. This is about how do I get people from an unsecure environment into a secure environment as quickly as possible. And you do that by reducing the nuisance alarm. Okay, so that's what this is about. Okay, but it's not magic. Okay, what this is about, it's about the metal signature, and the reason, depending on the sensitivity level you determined for your threat, okay, is some items have similar metal signatures as other personal items. What people don't realize, the barrel of a gun contains iron. Okay, it's hardened steel to hold up to that explosion. So first of all, any gun we consider weapons in this context, a mass casualty threat. Okay, so a gun that can sustain a magazine clip more than a single shot. Okay, if you're looking for a single shot, then you need to go to a metal detector. Okay, so we're talking really guns with a magazine clip. Because of that, they have to have a fair amount of iron and hardened steel to hold up to that consistent explosion. Okay, so that's how we're able to determine that kind of weapon versus another weapon. There's other weapons, mass casualty threats though, that have iron. Okay, like a knife. Okay. I don't know if anyone's been in the military, but there's certain knives that have iron as well and hardened steel. Okay, so we'll keep those out as well. Okay, but it depends on the threat item. So if you're looking for a full-size gun or a compact or subcompact, those guns, those barrels are this big. Okay, so now that is why you start to alert on things like Chromebooks. It's about the iron. It isn't about the shape. It's how much iron is in that frame of that laptop or that Chromebook. Okay, we got around 3-ring binders though, things like that. There's not as much iron, okay, in those, but that's again depending on the threat item you want to detect. Okay, so for example, if you're just looking for a full-size gun, the only item we're concerned about kids have to take out of their backpack would be the Chromebook. And I can show you, actually I'll show you on the screen what that looks like to the detector and how much iron it has in it. You'd be surprised, it's a lot. Okay, but it all starts with what do you want to detect. All right. So real quick. So the OP8 was developed for that reason. Number one, what we call throughput. And it's to move traffic, reducing the nuisance alarm rate. These are incredibly portable. What our customers asked us for is throughput number one. Portability was number two. Okay. So when you talk about how many you need, by the way, the calculation for how many detectors you would need at a school isn't about entries. It's about how many kids can I get to class on. Okay, so roughly you should be able to screen, looking for a compact or subcompact gun, about 300 students every 15 minutes through a single lane. That's your math. It's not about entrances. It's how do we get the kids to class. Okay, so I'm going to set this up. Incredibly portable, no wires. Okay, this is 60 years of engineering, by the way. And the reason, by the way, you don't want to go further than too far Che, by the way, is the only manufacturer that is regularly tested by a third-party lab for human exposure. So you can go through with pacemakers, cochlear implants, insulin pumps, completely safe. Okay, only manufacturer that's true of. If we went further, okay, we could detect it, but it would be unsafe. Okay, we screen 1 billion people a year, U.S. alone, airports. We want people to be safe. That matters. So that's why it's limited. Depending on the threat item you're looking for, again, is that distance is limited based on the threat item. Okay. So in less than a minute, these will be ready to go. Okay. No tablet needed, no wires needed. Literally take these in the middle of the field. You have charged batteries. Less than a minute, these will be ready to go in just a second. What I usually start with is this should be set for a full-size handgun. And what we use, okay, so that's it. That's all you need. No network needed, no mobile app. I'm going to show you the mobile app, but you don't need it. That's only if you're changing settings. So right now this is set for a full-size handgun. If that's what you're setting it for, and basically that's a mass casualty threat. Think about what an SRO, how many of you know guns, by the way? What are you carrying? Glock 17, 19?
Springfield.
Springfield. Okay. So think about a full-size handgun is what a police officer typically carries. Okay, pretty big gun. Okay, so that's what it's set for right now. Che uses only international standards. So right now it's set for a full-size handgun. The Department of Justice is defined. Not Che, the Department of Justice is defined. On that setting, the only item kids would have to take out of their bag would be the Chromebook, school-related item. Okay, kids walk through with all kinds of stuff, not school. One would be a massage gun, you know those hammers, those massage. I mean, it's going to alert on that because there's a lot of iron in that. So school-related item, things kids would have to take out, just the Chromebook on the set. I've got 3 cell phones here, big old water bottle, lots of metal in my bag. I've got all kinds of cables, connectors. The reason all this can go through, and the reason we call it a weapons detector and not a metal detector, on this setting, by the way, so I can set it to a metal detector, is because none of these items have enough iron in it to be considered a mass casualty threat, so that's why it doesn't alarm. Okay, does that make sense? Mm-hmm. As soon as I put a gun in there that has iron in it, not all guns do, by the way, a measurable amount of iron. A single shot, because it doesn't have to hold up to an explosion, doesn't have any measurable amount of iron. Okay, so that's why we're looking for a mass casualty threat. I put this in my bag. Doesn't matter how I put it in my bag, where I put it in my bag, that could be on the floor, it doesn't matter, it's going to alert. Okay, but it's alerting based on the metal signature. Okay, I take that out of my bag. It's not magic. Okay, it's not going to alert. Okay, pretty straightforward. Okay, but it all depends on what you want to detect. So right now, again, it's not alerting on my cell phones. Okay, it's not alerting right now on this small knife. Okay, this is a utility blade. This is all plastic except for this blade and this harness. Okay, it's not missing this. It's not set to detect it. Okay, you decide what you want to detect. I want to set to detect this. A lot of schools do random screening, much like using a canine or something. We'll just pick a random classroom. You want to do random search. In California, it's a little different, but I can change the setting real quickly. And you only need the mobile app to change settings.
Very user-friendly.
And Che only uses international standards. These are all classified, by the way, except for the DOJ setting I'm using. But that's for an AK-47. I could use it for an AR-15. Why would you have those settings? Some governments, at their airports, they want to push the perimeter out so that if someone has a roller bag, you get a roller bag through, but I'll find that AK-47, I'll find that AR-15. So different settings, these are all classified from different federal bodies. I'm going to go to a Homeland Security standard. Okay, this is for any gun commercially manufactured. Okay, so basically I'm turning it into a metal detector right now. Okay, again, depends on the threat item you want to be able to detect. So some are doing random searches, setting this up in the classroom, just takes seconds to change, less than 20 seconds to change this, a few seconds will be done, but now I won't even get through with a cell phone. Okay, so if you want kids to go through now, okay, oh, I got my cell phone. Oh, what else you got, Tom? Oh, I got another cell phone. Okay, and by the way, this works in either direction. Okay, what else you got? Okay. Okay, right now I'm clear. Okay, but you want to catch the vape? So right now it's not going off on my watch. I'll bump this up just a little bit. So there's macro settings or weapons categories, then you can tweak it ever so slightly. Okay? Okay? The kid said I had nothing on me. That's when you go to the handheld. So Che, we have about 10 different walkthroughs in our line. We have about 10 different handhelds in our line. The student says, no, I got nothing on me. We have lots of different handhelds. This one has what we call progressive alarming. You guys use handhelds in any of your schools? You probably use a Garrett, that black
Yeah, old ones.
Okay. They're good metal detectors, but they're not advanced. Okay. This has progressive alarming, so the closer I get to an object, it's going to make more noise. Okay. Also, when I'm on top of an object, it's called pinpoint alarming, so notice when I'm on top of that object. Okay. What that allows you to do is easily find that vape. You can't hide a vape from me. A lot of people, your kid might say, oh, that's my bra that you're hitting on. It's alerting on my bra. The bra would make a consistent tone across that bra. If something else was in there, okay, you get a different sound. Same in the crotch. Doesn't matter where that is, it's going to make a different tone. Okay, you can find it. You can isolate it. Okay, much more advanced. Okay.
So you're saying if we invested, it'd be wise to invest in the wand as well.
Separate product.
Yeah, but it'd be wise to invest.
$360. Recommended. Now for screening, for procedures and staff, where we train, what you want to do is have people go through. Okay, again, right now it's going off my watch. Okay. By the way, take it off. See if I'm clear. Still going. Get that vape out. Okay, now I'm clear. Okay. It's right on the edge. Something's alerting my metal credit cards. Okay. So you can make it as sensitive as you want. Okay. And I still have room to go on this. Okay. So super sensitive.
So if you have a surgical procedure and some metal object to support your body, it'll indicate on that?
Yeah. We don't indicate on this one. Although we patented that, there's a reason we took it off this detector. Okay. What we experienced in public environments, NFL, Major League Baseball, we think those are security professionals that wear their security jackets and stuff. Oftentimes they're hired at $10, $12 an hour. They're not security professionals. Okay, they're not. And they're human and they make mistakes. The most common one we saw, okay, and we work with these firms around the world that do testing. It's called red team testing, a high security firm. They talked to the head of security at the stadium and said, we're coming at 2 o'clock today. We're going to try a penetration test, send our red teams in and see if we can get through. 90% of the time this happened. Someone walks through, okay, our detector, and this happens at the airport, so you don't know it lights up. In this case, and I'll show you again on the slide, in this case, it would light up here because it's at my waist, okay, and down the middle, it would alert on both sides because I'm going down the middle with this here. Does that make sense? What's the assumption? All I have to do is lift my shirt and they see a belt buckle, they go, oh, you're good. 90% of the time they wave you through. Okay? Because it's an assumption they're trying to get you in on time to the game, they're human, and they just want to move you along. So we purposely took it off this detector. Okay? Even though we patented that 37 years ago. What we found, because the alarm rate on this is only 1 to 2% of the game. Okay? So lowest alarm rate by far by anyone, only 1 to 2% alarm. Okay? With kids, by the way, even on the highest setting with training, we're seeing about a 7% alarm rate in our school. So out of 100 kids, 7 would be pulled aside. Okay, it's a pretty low alarm rate for carrying all that stuff. Okay, so that's your math right there. Okay, but that's been our experience. That's why we took the lights off this. Because what you want to do is if someone alarms, you do want to pull them aside and check them thoroughly and don't make any assumptions. Okay? That's better security. So it is important to get people in on time. I don't care if it's a stadium or school, but if anything less than that and checking somebody thoroughly, we call it security theater. You're kidding yourself. You need to check people thoroughly, take your time. Do this right or don't do it at all. Okay? This is what we believe.
Couple
We're not
questions.
interested in selling your equipment if you're not going to take this seriously.
Right.
We don't need to be selling this to schools. We don't want to be selling this to schools. But if you're going to do it right.
I've seen a demonstration prior to. Can you demonstrate to my colleagues the battery pack?
Sure. So you have an option. Most go with the battery option because it gives you the most flexibility and portability. We originally, when this first came out, we used Milwaukee batteries, but it was a consumer product. We saw a lot of failures in the field. So we manufacture our own battery. We have for years. We thought we'd get out of the battery business. We got sucked back in. But they run on, right now, it runs on one in each tower it runs on. And as those fail, it fails over to the other batteries that would be in here. They're in the box, we left them in there. But it's about 6.5, 7 hours of runtime on a battery. So what would happen, 6, 7 hours on this, it would fail over to that one. Okay, so you get another, 6, 7 hours on it. Okay, the main draws power faster. So what would happen if I'm in the middle of the field, I need to keep running, then I grab one out of this and move it over because this barely uses any battery. So I get about 20 hours of runtime on 4 fully charged batteries.
Wow.
So literally the middle of the field. Now, if you are near a charger, you can just keep cycling. So you can run it 24 hours. But also you have an option to plug it in. Okay? So when you purchase them, you get you elect on each detector, you get 4 batteries and a charger, or do you want power adapters? And then if you chose one, you could always purchase the others accessories. Okay? Most go with the batteries.
Can we talk price now? I want to know individual batteries on top of the 4 that you talked about, and then the units as well.
The batteries, I'm not the sales guy, but like $200 a battery.
And the whole unit?
18.7, and you own it.
Okay.
On a subscription, 18,700, and you own it.
And that's the pair,
That's
correct?
a pair. This is one detector.
And then we just pay for like a servicing or whatever if there's anything.
I mean, warranty you're covered on. Any service, for example, if you did have something, someone cracked it, broke it, I'd ship you one overnight. Availability, by the way, we have them available. PO, I ship in 2 days.
No agreement, no service?
There's no moving parts. Okay, the door on it's the only moving part for the battery. There's 65 years of engineering built in this. There's no maintenance. No maintenance contract. There's no maintenance needed. Support's free, 24/7, 365. You pay for it, you own it.
And what's the lifespan as well of the units?
So we have some at our facilities in Italy sitting outside for more than 30 years, still operable. We have one sitting in our office in Ohio that was in the World Trade Center when it went down and still operates. Okay? They hold up pretty well. Now, from a technology standpoint, we usually do a refresh every 7 or 8 years on tech, but TSA has been using some for since 2002. Okay, so they're out there. New York City schools, NYPD have some still in existence. They've been using for 25 years, so they last because it's just reason being is no moving parts or microchips. Okay.
So,
And by the way, one thing I didn't add, we've been at this so long. We're, by the way, the only manufacturer, pretty much only manufacturer in the world, that we make everything. Okay? We don't outsource it. Not only that, we make the machines that make the machine. Okay? Because no one can do what we do.
You were talking about introducing a new product, Janus. About how much does that run, and does it have the same ability?
That's a very different animal. I mean, that's about a $500 million product. I mean,
No, thank you. We're not ready.
what's your, do you have like a recommended settings for schools that will?
Well, we tell you about pros and cons, but we don't recommend. Because at the end of the day, this is your environment. Typically what we do, we'll ask you, so in training I would ask you, first of all, have you confiscated any guns in the last couple of years? Number one. Have you?
BB gun.
Okay. So not a threat item really for someone's life.
Yes.
You have.
Yes.
And so then the question would be, is that a full size or compact or subcompact?
It was a compact.
Okay. So we're seeing a lot more of those, and I can share some numbers with you. But then let's say you hadn't, okay? What I would then do is ask local law enforcement, because unless you're doing a threat assessment, your threat assessment would be based on what have you found, okay? Since you haven't found any, I would ask local law enforcement, when they arrest somebody, I don't care if it's for speeding, fighting, shoplifting, I don't care what it's for, and they confiscate a gun, what is it? These days, we're seeing a lot more compacts and subcompacts. By the way, that's why the NFL, Major League Baseball, this standard, by the way, was the standard for all those for public employees for many, many years. It's DOJ standard for a full-size handgun. That's now changed over the last few years. Everyone's now, the standard's changing to compacts and subcompacts, and here's why. When Columbine happened 26 years ago now, okay, we manufactured about 4.7 million guns a year. Okay? We now manufacture 20 million guns a year. By the way, we give birth to about 4 million kids a year. We give birth to 5 times as many guns. That's number one. The change, though, is back then, Vermont was the only state you concealed carry and needed a permit. Now the majority of states you conceal carry, you don't need a permit. So the guns being manufactured are these compacts and subcompacts that people can carry on their person, in their purse, and they're all over. People don't see it in the news, but 5-year-olds, 7-year-olds, 10-year-olds are bringing guns to school because they're lying around the house. Because the other statistic is only about 60% of people don't lock up their guns. That's why kids are bringing them to school. Okay? Because we're not locking them up and they're all over. Okay? Because people want them handy in case something's fear, and they want them handy in case something happens. Okay? That's a problem. So these guns are smaller and smaller, so although we don't make that recommendation, look at the numbers, that's what people are bringing. I mean, I'm sure that's what you're seeing in compacts and subcompacts. That's what people are carrying. So it does mean, so for those of you who don't know guns, so again, full size is what an officer would typically carry on service, okay? He's probably got a subcompact on him as well, okay? But a big gun. But that's a lot of metal, okay? These smaller guns are all plastic now, okay? But the barrel on some of them, an LCP Ruger, is this big, okay? And a .380 barrel, it's very narrow. So what we have to hit on, that target is small, no big deal. Again, you can see I can set this for anything. But it does mean it's going to hit on some more personal items, okay? As an example, let me show you a simple example. So I'll put this on the subcompact setting. Glasses on. Okay, so I'm going to put this on the subcompact setting, but I'll show you what's actually going on in the detector so you can see what the signal looks like. Wait a few more seconds. So you can see what it looks like for a gun, and then I'll show you what it looks like with an eyeglass case. Because it has a lot of iron in it. Okay? So I walk through, okay, that bottom line is no metals going through. So it's not getting any reading on that bottom line. The top line is the threshold. So if an amount of iron, hard steel goes through, there over that, it should alert. And that's what you're seeing there. Okay, that's signal. Look what an eyeglass case looks like because the amount of iron in this. It's not magic. It's just that's what's in there. Okay, so when we say weapons detection, there's a lot of marketing out there that makes it it's not magic. We're looking for stuff with iron and hardened steel. Surprisingly hard eyeglass. Because now with kids, though, it's pretty easy to get around with schools. Ask mom or dad to get your cloth case for school. Okay, not every kid has eyeglasses. Ask mom or dad to get your cloth one. So we'd solve that problem pretty easily. So really, we're just worried about the Chromebook. Okay, so there's ways to mitigate those things. Okay. But the first thing is, what do you want to detect? Okay, and because we see more complex and subcomplex, that's what NFL, Major League Baseball, your theme parks are all going to. All public venues are pretty much, because that's what people are carrying. So although we don't make that recommendation, it's probably what you should be going on. Okay? And what you think about is okay, the tighter you go, is what more do they have to divest? What more do they have to take out the tighter you go? Again, if I want to go to this level, it means they've got to pretty much take everything out of the pocket, right? Or out of the you can't screen them. It's just like an airport. If I have to go to this level, it's an airport level, just about. Okay? So tighter go, it's a trade-off. But you have to decide what you want to detect.
So that goes into my question, the common tricks that a student can try to do to bypass that is
Yeah, but let's be honest, okay? The reason most schools aren't going to this is because you have to set up like a TSA checkpoint. Number one, it's more money, more staff, okay, if you want to do it right, okay? But the reality is you have scissors in the class, or you have stuff around the school, so why are you going to that level?
Right.
Okay? And honestly, there's stuff around the school. That flagpole, I'll crack that pole in half, and that spear, far more dangerous than this. Okay? So a lot of schools, oh, we have to do that. Do you? Okay? This is just another layer in your security posture. So don't think this is going to stop everything. Right? It's just another thing, sadly, we have to do today. But do you have to go to that level where it's, going from nothing to a high security checkpoint? Probably not warranted if you've only found, one or two guns. To me, that makes no sense to go from nothing to this.
How many students per routine you said?
300. What's your average entrance time? A half hour, 40 minutes?
We typically do about an hour before graduation.
Oh, an hour. Okay, that's a lot of time for how many kids? 2,800? Yeah, you need, again, 2 detectors, you do, 1,200 in a half hour with 2 detectors. So 2,400, right? So 2 detectors at 18.7 each.
So basically, we can set that up to make our own false negative. Depends on how.
And the other reason security professionals like me, by the way, I've been doing this since the 80s. I've been in security pretty much my entire career. Okay, first time I shot, I was 9 years old in Chicago. I worked the nightclub business in Chicago, and then I got into this side of the security game. One of the things we also want to do in security in public environments is the other reason to reduce the nuisance alarm rate is what we call alarm fatigue. Okay, is if you have too many alarms, it's like crying wolf, right? And people get used to it. Oh, it's no big deal. Okay, that actually happened in a federal prison years ago. And working with federal prisons, it was I forget what year that was. An inmate would always alarm. It's because he had shrapnel in his body. He'd always alarm. So the guards were just, it's just Joe, let him go through. Okay. Well, what Joe did, he worked in the kitchen one day. He broke off a rod in the dishwasher, killed the guard. Okay. So Federal Bureau of Prisons asked us, is there any way around that? So what we did is built an ID. So now you scan in, we know exactly how much metal is in your body. You have an ID, just like you get through the door. You have ID, we know exactly how much metal is in your body. You walk through again, you have any more, any less, sets off an alarm. Okay. So these are things we're doing.
What about the issues that something breaks down? How fast,
We can overnight you one.
I'm sorry?
We can overnight you one.
Oh, okay.
I mean, literally. And we do overnight them. So the only thing, first of all, these are basically big antennas. Anyone ever taken apart a TV or cell phone? It's copper. It's mostly what these are. Microchips up top, they're boards just like your computer, a laptop. We could overnight your board. So if this wasn't cracked, so again, the damage is out. Somebody did some serious damage, and this crack would be a different thing. But again, we'd ship you a whole detector overnight, no problem. Okay? But if anything went out, the boards went out, we'd ship you that overnight too. You just replace the boards. Very easy to replace.
You talked about alarm fatigue. Personally, I know that's real because you'll respond somewhere 10 times, and it's that 11th time you turn the corner. It's what you went there.
And that's really why these exist. We want to reduce that nuisance alarm. Again, the reason we call it nuisance alarm, you don't want to be chasing someone's purse looking for what you think is a threat item. I'm spending all that time, looking for threat items instead of focused on a real threat. Okay, so that's really the other reason. Let's reduce those so we don't have the fatigue. And if it alerts, and again, at a stadium or something, you're only seeing a 1 to 2%. So you're only pulling 1 or 2 people out of 100 aside, and you want to check them thoroughly. Though, don't make any assumptions. Check them up and down. Okay. Schools, admittedly, the alarm rate's a little higher. We're seeing about 7% on average. Some are higher that didn't follow our training protocol, right, admittedly. And there's a range, but not that high. But we want to keep that alarm rate down, especially because these are inexperienced, these aren't security professionals working in schools. No offense to you, but you know, NYPD, New York City School, is one of the few that truly police officers are doing all the screening. Okay, only one in the country. Now there's SROs in schools, but not doing the screening. Okay, they're typically staffed. Okay, with very little training.
Right.
And that's where your mistakes are going to happen. The training happens. And that's the other thing we're doing. Our trainers, like myself, have been at this many, many, many years. One of my best buddies had a security for Secret Service. White House detail ran all weapons detection, including nuclear threats. He works for us. And for 28 years at the White House.
I'm good, thank you.
You bet.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, 6, we wait for Jose to come back. 6.3, review of weapons detection systems. So the district's safety considerations.
Get all the stuff out of your way. Yeah. You probably want to keep that, huh? Sorry, I got lots of
Oh, you're fine.
toys here.
No, we appreciate it.
One quick question, how much does those weigh? I mean, you picked it up pretty
24 pounds.
24 pounds. Wow.
Yeah. Super light.
Yeah. I have a copy.
Okay, while we wait for the slideshow, yes, we have these are the ones that we actually bought. So those are here and will be on the campuses soon.
Oh, they already arrived?
Yes,
Oh.
in my office.
I should be.
It's available now. Oh, you can,
Sorry about that.
Okay, I want to thank both of the companies for coming out and talking to us. I think there was a lot of good information given out. Which button am I pushing?
the arrows.
Like this. Okay, so this is what I'm going to briefly talk about. A lot of the stuff they covered very well. Some of the data about why we're looking at this, the weapons that have been in school over time. Just a couple of interesting points, especially the nearly 1 in 5 students that they either carried a gun or had one, been injured by one or threatened by one on campus. That's the 2021 data, but it's probably still accurate today. Just keep in mind that these detection systems, they're pretty advanced. I think they're the AI systems we need to be looking at to make our environment safer. And but they're a tool. They're just one part of the tool. They're part of our overall security system, which is our fencing and our security protocols and our security personnel. So we want to keep it in mind, as well as our cameras, that this is all part of a system to keep everybody safe.
I don't know if he dropped, is that a phone that fell? Behind it, I think something dropped.
Oh, yeah, behind your seat.
Yeah, thank you, appreciate it.
Okay, so all this stuff would be incorporated into our system and it would all work together to keep our students and staff safe. What I want to show you now is the current entrances that we have on each campus. This is Paris High. There's 3 entrances for students right now. The SPED entrance, the main entrance, and then the bus entrance. And that's pretty much the same on each campus. Heritage High School, the same situation. They have a student parking lot and bus entrance. Liberty High School has 3, a sped entrance, main, and then the students come into the back parking lot. And then Paloma, main entrance, parent drop-off gate, and then a sped parent drop-off gate. So they have 3 entrances as well. Penacati has 2, a main and a bus entrance. Paris Lake is the only single entrance school, along with SCMI. They have a single entrance as well. The reason I bring that up is for your considerations of what type of systems we're going to use and what type of entries we're going to do. Under our current situation that we have, we would have to consider the number of staff that we need for multiple entrances, the number of devices we would need for those entrances. We need to know how many students are coming through. Like he says, 300 students every 15 minutes, 600 in a half hour. What are those entrances looking like? How many systems are they going to need? Are we going to be able to staff and use the special ed entrances? That's going to be tricky. Well, they're all buses, but it's a lower amount of students. But those students do have situations where they bring stuff on campus. Power for the systems, where we have our entrances, the amount of time to screen all the students, and then where we're going to put these systems once we're done with them. We have to store them somewhere. So that's considerations that you guys have to look at. Moving to a single point entry for each campus, same type of considerations. We have to reroute students, change parking lot areas, traffic flow, again, the number of staff, the amount of time to stream the system, the students, the number of systems we'll need for those entrances, how we're going to power the system, and we're going to store the system. So things for you guys as a board to consider and for us to consider as we move forward in this process. Okay? That's just brief for me. Any questions or and I'll provide answers.
So I didn't hear an official recommendation on numbers except how many point of entries we have for all the high schools. And if we go based off the point of entries, I'm counting 3 for point of entry, 1 for each point of entry. And then again, it depends if we have one high traffic area, whatnot. So if that would be multiple units, but based on your single point entries at each campus, that's 13 units.
Are you talking about single point, or are you talking about our existing entrances?
Existing entrances.
Yeah, so our existing entrances, I would, my recommendation would be the main entrance we would have, depending on which system we go with.
Right.
So for going with the last system, I would recommend 2 at the main entrance, 1 at the bus entrance, and 1 for special ed if we go that route, if we choose to screen special ed. That's 1,200 per half hour in the front and 600 per half hour on the side, which it's, depending on the school, it's 3 to 5 buses. So that's how I would break it down. So it would be probably 3 to 4 per school, with the exception of Penacati, which would be 2, Paris would be 1, Paris Lake would be 1, and CMI would be 2.
The sped entrance is only the special needs students are allowed to go through there?
Correct. With the exception of Paloma, which is sped students, and it's a drop-off for general ed students. Everyone else has their own gate that they
Yeah. John, any thought about the after-hours use of these? I know football games is a big target. Say you have basketball. Typically, when we're out at the stadium, we used to try to lock down, say, a Heritage, the quad area, and lock the front gate so they couldn't get into the campus. But somehow, someone would always exit, and some kids would get in there somehow, or they had to go to ASB to get something, or this or that. So, the systems, we definitely will have to move them, and that's where I see opportunity to damage them. If we don't have a set way we're going to move them and keep everything together, charged, and like you said, where we're gonna keep them. I would just suggest we walk the sites to see where the potential to store the things and charge up batteries and things like that.
Well, and just keep in mind, to address the first part about sporting events, that would not be daily. You know, that would, like, let's say football, that would only be certain Thursdays and Fridays throughout the fall. And I did speak to another district that actually has the open gate system, and they're using it strictly for sporting events right now. They originally bought it for entry, but they were challenged with the staffing issue. They didn't think about the staffing issue. Once they got them and said, how are we going to staff this? So they just moved it to the sporting events. So what they've done is they set them up, and about 40 yards ahead of where they have them set up, they have trash cans, and they have signs that say what's not allowed into the football games. And they say that people will walk up, read their signs, people will turn around and go back to their cars, people will take stuff out of their pocket, throw it in the trash, come in, go through the system, and go in and enjoy the game. When they check the trash cans after, they find knives, they find pepper spray, they find vapes. You know, people are, they're getting rid of the stuff because they know they're about to walk through the system. So it is a deterrent to people bringing those things in. So that's something we could look at, and then we'd have to create policies and procedures for using it, no matter how we use it, but it is something that's doable, and it seems to be working as well.
I think we'll have the same issue staffing. So you try to staff a stadium, you've got two sides, visitors, home side, visitors, and you've got the back entrance.
Well, it would be a lot easier to staff athletic events than it will
Regular school
everyday
day.
entry, yes.
Have you looked at any kind of numbers for if we need to staff like during the regular school day, what that might look like?
Yeah, I'm going with the recommendations from the companies, and I'm thinking, depending on which devices or systems we're using and how many we're using, it's anywhere from 3 to 8 people at an entrance. So we would, if we're using a system, single entry, let's say the open gate system at a single entry, we could probably get away with 2 to 3 people. We're using a double evolve system at the front, double going, we're looking at 6 to 8 people.
Yeah, how do I put this? What kind of staffing is that? I mean, what department would they fall under?
Well, that's under the consideration, something we'd have to figure out.
Right. Okay.
Because we couldn't do it with all the security staff. The other issue that you have with using your security staff is if you go single point entry, or if you go keep it the way it is, you need to secure the rest of your campus. Because what happens, they're going to be doing metal detectors. I'm going to slip stuff under the fence. I'm going to hide stuff in the bushes. Your security staff needs to be dealing with that, as well as the fact that you're screening these people on. You're going to have 1,000 kids on campus. Somebody needs to be able to supervise those people. So you're not going to want your security team tied down to this.
And we did go to Hammond Unified to view their system. They're using the Evolve system, and they were utilizing 4 staff members for a dual lane process. And they were using 2 clerical to just identify the students, and then security are the ones that would be searching, making and checking off once they check the bags and things like that.
And to answer the question earlier about the open gate system or even involved, do you have a backup? So yes, we do have a backup to do less invasive searches. So once we find something, we know exactly what we're looking.
Well, we have an SRO at every, well, I guess we'd have to move them as we need them. Let's say they found something, we had an incident. Of course, the SRO's got to go straight to that, right? I don't know how many typically we have at a game. But I'm thinking if somebody actually had a weapon that our security staff is not armed, or there's no way they can deal with them.
Right.
So we have to be aware of where, well, your training would place your SROs strategically or something.
That's the other consideration on staffing.
Yeah.
And single point entry versus multiple point entrance. If you have multiple and you have a bus zone, and there's a reportable weapon, your escrow's gotta go there. Now you have the main entrance, another reportable weapon.
Yeah.
They've gotta come over and deal with that as well. So, and for football games, though, we will be centralized in one spot, and we have multiple deputies at games, so we can have them available for that.
That's trial and error.
Like I said, the sporting events is a lot easier to staff and deal with than the entry of the students. It's more challenging.
Yeah. I just, when we have events, it brings people from other places
Yes.
and their parents that can be a problem too.
Well, the interesting thing about it, Emmett uses it for athletic events. Well, they use metal detectors for their athletic events. And Corona Norco is using the open gate system. And they've had, the response has been very positive from home as well as visiting teams. They're really appreciative of it, and they haven't had any problems with people refusing to go through or arguing about it at either school district. Anything else? Thank you.
I'm good.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to action item 7.1, business authorization for purchase orders above 50,000, November 2025. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Hall, and on the first, and Trustee Garcia on the second. Any discussion?
Yeah. Yes, sorry. Is this for the training room that we were in last Saturday or a few Saturdays ago for?
Oh yeah, for the workshop.
Yeah, the
study
workshop. Couldn't
session.
think of it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Everything looks good in there. I don't see why we should replace something and spend that kind of money on something that we can push to something else. So I don't understand why we're looking at spending that kind of money to redo carpet. What are they actually trying to do? What do they want to redo?
Talking about the training room.
Yeah, the training room.
They wanted the tables to be able to roll because those tables are heavy in our room. Wasn't that one of the considerations? Remember those tables were very heavy and
Right.
they had reconfigured the room, but they don't have a set custodian over there, I don't think, that's there during the time they have to be set up, so they had to do it. I think what they did say is those tables that are there can be definitely used somewhere else. But, I mean, I'm not saying yes or no, I just kind of
Okay.
explaining.
It's just tables. 60,000 in tables?
I don't know.
Okay,
No.
Dr. Williams, Dr. Williams.
We're going to get the official list.
Hi, yes. So the training room, the third building in the back, so what you said, the first part for training room 1 is correct. The chairs are appropriate, but the tables are, I believe, over 15 years old. We have one person who does the setup. It's used district-wide, so on a daily basis that moves. And right now the practice is she runs around trying to find other secretaries that could help move. And it's the last room in the district that isn't able to accommodate kind of the amount of PD that we do. So the chairs stay. That's for training room 1. What we're calling mini training room 1 used to be the former director of CNI office, but that's being converted back to a conference room. So we've been just kind of pulling tables in order to be able to have meetings in there. And training room 2 is where all of the supplies are. That just has one workstation in the middle. We've taken all of the community liaison and family engagement and then the community cover things that we use at the events. We use all the other storage around. So that just needs one workspace in the middle. And in training room 3, we did convert that space in order to accommodate 8 employees that are currently working on PD tables. They don't actually have workstations. And so that's where the 64,000 is. The chairs are good, so there's no reason to change those out. The tables, we do have other school sites that have also asked for some of those tables because they'll be in locations where they won't need to move. And so that's what that covers. It mostly covers all the training rooms and then just one location where we have 8 PSCA members that don't have workstations.
How serious are we about moving the district office? Is that something that we're looking forward to in the near future or far future? That's a lot, right?
I mean, I know for me, I would definitely, that's something, I mean, obviously we have to figure out all the financials, but I mean, I know for me that would be one of those front burner issues, you know, and for me, I guess, you know, the cost, now knowing what the security, I mean, that to me, immediately what I think of is that's 3 metal detectors, or 3 of those safety, and it's, you know, priority-wise, I mean, you know, I don't know, you know, a lot of times we hear the financial situation as well, we're deficit spending, we've got all this stuff, and so until, you know, for me, until, you know, we're in a position where, I mean, I know it's probably one-time money, but I think until we're in a position where we can just say, hey, you know what, we are not deficit spending, we don't have that kind of concern, because obviously I think we have bigger issues and expenses that are kind of on the front burner, which I'm already calculating in my head, and obviously those are not ones that I'm gonna want to try to put off, but so that's kind of where for me it's like,
And I can clarify the funding. So this was the funding that initially was part of moving pupil services to the backup house. But since there is not enough room to accommodate both those departments, we reduced the scope of work at the backup house. And this is coming out of the fund that is not for security measures, it's for furniture and this type of equipment out of the fiscal budget. And so that's how the funding was redirected in order to accommodate some of the changes we had to do at SSC.
So a question, do you never have a custodian go over there ever?
So we have one custodian, but there's no daytime custodian. And she comes toward the end of the day. She does the trash around 1 and then comes back closer to 3:30 to 4. And then her day ends. During the day, she works at the M&O. And so we don't have a system where district-wide you would do like a work order and there's like people who would come every day to change it. No, we do have the PD technician who takes care of all of that across the district. But this is our largest room, and it's for whatever reason, it's the only one that doesn't have the ability for things to just move, or the whiteboard tables and like all the other, what you see in the rooms that are close, that are here, or the other training room at PALS. It's for whatever reason, it's the only one that doesn't allow for the one person to move. They're very heavy. It does require at least 2 people per table.
So how often are you having a training system?
Well, this is the district room, so the trainings and use is daily.
When's the last time it was updated?
When Mr. Fritz was there, and he said, "Oh wow, these have been here over 15 years."
They look good.
Oh no, they look good. The issue is just the strain of. It's just in a space that has to be adjusted, if not daily, maybe 4 to 5 days a week, based on the meetings. And if they're not full day meetings, then whoever had in the morning, you have to have someone be able to change it. So it is becoming it's just physically you're trying to find people to adjust.
Well, I think for me, I'm just, you know, because we have all these things kind of up in the air with what's at the different sites and the way things are set up. And I mean, obviously, I think they're aware of. I would like to kind of see how it all works and in action. But I just think at this time, for me to be on board with this, I need more information to take a look and see what do we have, because I think that's kind of one of the questions, that we have all these different sites and different places going on, and so.
Can we get what we're working with and then what you guys want? So we can
Right, if there was, and I don't know how it works, but at bare minimum, just to be able to get the 8 employee workstations, they're working on PD tables that we took out of the PD room in the back of house. So we just have 8 employees at minimum that need workstation.
How many workstations are you looking for?
There, in that quote, I believe there's 8 for the 8 teachers, and I don't think on there we have the new single point entry. It may be the reception, because it's a single point entry now, so there's a wall with the window and so we just stuck a few chairs in there. But we have a single point now, so there's like a reception area similar to what you see in HR. Actually, exactly what you see in HR.
I mean, I can see, okay, they don't have a workstation for those particular people.
Right.
Fine, but to revamp everything we might want to get a new district office. We got the security system we're looking at, and we're also keep being told we're in deficit spending. So that's all I know.
Well, okay, so on the teacher side, are these TOSAs?
Yes, there are instructional coaches and our tech coaches that came over from technology.
So they're not assigned at sites?
No.
Okay. Would that be, well, I think there's, for me, I think there's more questions and
Absolutely.
more of a conversation to have. So unless anybody has anything else, I'm ready to
When
vote.
you say workstations, are you talking like building or just like building?
No, they're in a room where we've taken some of these tables out of other rooms, so they just don't have a desk. They don't have a desk. They're just on tables. And so we have taken the tables out of TR1, but then every time we had larger events, we would have to take their tables so they would be back with. So we're just at least trying to have.
And is a long-term station that they're gonna have?
Yes. So we've had, I believe in this district, the instructional TOSAs and the tech TOSAs. When they came, they do rotate. They do go to sites, but they also do a lot of collaboration and training on site because we're doing the math adoption. We're doing a lot of things with the smaller teacher groups. So although they're at site, they also need like a space as well. So they're all in one room. And so what on that order is not as wide, smaller, but single, and they go up and down and have the holes and stuff for technology, and then one roller drawer so they can have, the 3-file type drawer.
Well, okay. Yeah.
I'd like to see what that price tag is.
Yes, it's part of.
Well, yeah, but I can't approve the whole 62. No, I like to see, take care of our and see what it looks like. To give them a place so they can have a workstation.
Well, and I think looking ahead, obviously the tech TOSAs, I'm a little surprised that they wouldn't just be on the site, because I thought that was the whole purpose of them kind of tackling on-site issues.
Right.
But at the same time, I know some of the conversations with staffing, some of these positions might not be long-term positions. So, obviously I think, we can find kind of like what you're saying, a fix. I know, and I need definitely more information on that information, but if there's no other discussion, if anybody else wants to add anything, then making sure. Let's put it to a vote. Seeing no other discussion. All right, please vote. On a vote being taken, we have 3 in favor and 2 opposed. So now go ahead and moving on to 8.1, adjourn to closed session. Do I have a motion to adjourn to closed session?
So moved.
Thank you, Trustee Garcia. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Stafford. Seeing no discussion or questions, please vote. On a vote being taken, the vote was 5 in favor, 0 opposed. And we are adjourning to closed session at 5:46 p.m. Okay, 9.1, the special board meeting of the Paris Union High School District is reconvening at 6:49. Oral reports, 10.1, report out of closed session.
No report on closed session, President.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Rouse. And number 11.1, adjournment, special meeting of the Board of Trustees for November 20th, 2025. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Trustee Garcia. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Hall. Seeing no discussion or conversation, questions, please vote. On a vote being taken, the vote was 5 in favor, 0 opposed, and the meeting is adjourned at 6:50. Thank you.